Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Colette May. I can't wait to show you my house just outside of Palm Beach.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Colette May, and I'm obsessed with all things flowers, fashion, and mostly interior design. And I'm super excited to show you around my new home just outside of Palm Beach. So we bought this home a year ago, and we've lived here full time for the last 4 months. And I've been working on it since we purchased it a year ago and have done quite a bit of work, which you'll see, because when we bought it, it was a spec house. And it was really just a big white box, and it was very cold and really needed a lot of warming up. And when you buy a spec house, you don't always get to pick everything that you want, like all the finishes and the cabinets. So I had to work around some things and kind of bring in wallpaper and texture and things to make it warmer and more like my personality. This is the entry to my home. There wasn't really like a formal entry, so I kind of made an entry with having a center table, which is one of my favorite things to do for an entry. This fabulous Willie Gould container I sourced in Winnetka, Illinois at a good friend of mine's store called Arch. And I found these paper mache fruit branches at Gusto in Palm Beach, which is my absolute favorite place here. And then these are porcelain Nymphenburg pieces, and we have a couple of them that you can see here, the birds and the elephant. I've had these for a really long time. They're very collectible, and I really love them. The table I got from Cherish, very hard to find a table this size, so I took a long time to find it, but I'm happy with it. These chairs I've had for a really long time. They're vintage. I got them on First Dibs, and I've reupholstered them in a Dadar fabric, which I'm obsessed with. I think it's so pretty and so interesting. This piece of art I've had for a really long time. Before I got married, I bought this piece, and a lot of my art you'll see is very feminine, but I kind of joke that this is me when the UPS man comes with 5 packages and my husband answers the door. I'm kind of embarrassed. So anyway, it's kind of a funny painting. Yeah, you'll notice here and throughout the living room, I use this elitist wallpaper. So it would be pretty hard to wallpaper from floor to ceiling with a 24-foot ceiling. So a very good friend of mine who's a designer, Megan Winters, gave me this idea because she did this in her home, where you kind of do a wraparound with the wallpaper, and it really brought the room together and made it so much more intimate. And I don't think you really feel like, oh my God, she didn't do the whole wall. It just really was the perfect thing for this room. As I said, it was just this big white box, and it was so cold. So I just kept trying to layer different things to make it warmer and more homey. So we're gonna walk over to the living room. Welcome into my living room. Really all of the furniture in here, pretty much, I've had for many years. This day bed, which I love, came from Chicago, and I've actually had it for at least 24 years. It was originally in my daughter's nursery as a bed, and I've used it in living rooms, dining rooms, and it just kind of travels with me. These beautiful chests, I have 2 of them, came from First Dibs. They're mid-century modern, and I think they're really interesting with this curved drawer front. And you'll see here a Murano glass lamp, and I have a pair of those. I have a lot of Murano glass lamps. I've collected those over the years, and I just think they go with every decor. They're so elegant and timeless, and I just love them. And I've had these candlesticks for a long time. I believe they're Ted Mueling, and I just think they're so elegant, being so thin and kind of feminine. So these are kind of funny. I bought these in Palm Beach at Show Pony, which is a fabulous source, and they're actually supposed to be tables, but I thought that they were so cute as stools, even though you really can't sit on them. And I had these little cushions made in the Dadar fabric, and I just love them. I think they're kind of whimsical and fun, and someday I'll probably move them around and make them into tables, but they're just fun. And then these French prints I've had for many, many years too. I don't remember the name of the artist right now, but it's a collection of 12, and I have one in another part of the house. And I think they help fill out the space really, really well. I could also see like a huge painting here, but it would have to be enormous to fill up the space, so I thought these worked well. And then you'll see this brass and glass top coffee table, which I sourced from South Loop Loft in Chicago. And it is a Willie Darrow, and I believe it's from the 70s. And I think it's just a lot of fun with the branch base. And this sofa is a custom-made sofa that I've had for probably 10, 12 years. And it's really held up so well. I think when you buy really good pieces and you buy the best pieces that you can afford at the time and something you really love, you don't want to change your furniture out. Like when I knew I was moving here, I never considered buying new living room furniture. I just loved everything I had and I wanted it to work, and I think it works well in this home as it did in the last 2 homes. These benches are Geoponte. I sourced them in Chicago at Pavilion, which is a fabulous source for modern furniture. And I've purchased a few things from them that I'll show you throughout the space. These lights are from First Dibs. These are new, or they're vintage, but they're new to this house. So this was a custom rug that I've had in the last 2 homes, and it just is a beautiful color blush, which I think works really well with the pillows and the other things in the home. I really have brought in blush into this home quite a bit, which you'll see when we go into the bedroom as well. It's such a pretty color, and it doesn't have to look too feminine. It's something that I think can be very neutral. This painting over here is by Simon Proctor, and it's actually a Valentino fashion show. So it kind of combines my love of fashion and interiors. As I mentioned, I love fashion, and when I saw this piece, I fell in love with it, and I couldn't afford it at the time, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I contacted the dealer a year later, and they still had it, and I was so excited. I got this from a dealer in Miami. I've been inspired by fashion my whole life, and it's really due to my Barbie dolls. I had a lot of Barbie dolls because there were not a lot of girls in my neighborhood, and so the boys would always be playing, and I would just be so happy playing in the corner with my Barbie dolls. And had custom-made clothes for them, and I still have them today, and I'm thinking about putting them upstairs in my closet. I could literally take them out today and play with them. I just love them. So this is another vintage chest that I've had for a long time, and a bust that I found. I think I found this at a flea market in Chicago. It's been a while, so I'm not sure. I love doing orchids in this Coco Dama look. They're really, really interesting, where you see the moss and you see the beautiful orchids, but I just love this actual applications of orchids. I think it's a little bit unusual. 24-foot ceilings, and the view is just so beautiful. Looking out at the pool, I have this vintage bench that I love, and this bar cart that I found several years ago in Chicago, and it's just breathtaking to wake up and you kind of pinch yourself when you see this beautiful view. Just love it, and I love having the really soft, billowy draperies, and just kind of keeping it kind of feeling kind of airy. So I'm going to take you now into the kitchen. So now I'm going to show you the kitchen now. And as I mentioned, this was a spec house, and I didn't get to pick a lot of the things that I wanted to because it was kind of pretty far down the production. So I really layered the kitchen a lot to kind of make up for some of the things that I don't like, which I'm not going to point out to you. But anyway, I did insist on having an open shelf. That was something we took down the cabinets that were there, and I really wanted to have an open shelf because I love my china. I love to collect china. I love to, just kind of have these things easily accessible when I'm cooking. So I just love that. This piece right here is another Willie Gould vessel that I sourced with Arch in Winnetka, Illinois. And every week I do this arrangement with the hydrangeas, and it takes exactly 36 stems of hydrangeas to put this together. And it's a labor of love. But I love flowers, and I go to the flower market every week, and it's just so joyful to me to always have flowers in the house. So I picked out these enormous light fixtures, which I thought the space really needed it with the height. And I love them. I think they worked out really, really well. These stools I love with the boucle fabric. They swivel, and I think they're just really kind of interesting, a little bit different than everything, that you see. And I love topiaries. So I try to always have topiaries. When I first moved here, I thought, oh my God, there's no topiaries in Florida. And I finally found a flower shop here that does have topiaries, and I just love them and love taking care of them and just enjoy them. And then these really modern lights I've had for a while as well that I sourced at South Loop Loft in Chicago, and they're a lot of fun. I've moved them into a lot of different types of rooms through the last couple of years, so I think they're pretty versatile. I really wanted to make the kitchen more interesting and warm it up, and so I selected this Schumacher wallpaper, which at first I was really nervous about, and it was one of the things I definitely had to run by my husband first because it was a little risky, but we absolutely love it. It's really, really interesting. It kind of plays into Palm Beach, but it also, I just think the brown is really interesting and a little bit unexpected in Florida, and it warms up the kitchen and makes it a little more interesting. I'm going to show you the dining room now, which is really just off the kitchen. And this is a lucite and glass top table that I got from First Dibs, and it's worked in the last couple of homes perfectly. I'm really glad in this space that it works because it kind of just is invisible, and it lets you kind of have this open space from one room to the next. I think a heavy table would not have worked well in this space. And these are the Knoll Saarinen chairs, which are pretty well known. And these candles I found, they're from Germany, and I think they're so interesting because it's wax from the candle all the way to the base. So I just think they're really, really pretty and are just wonderful for dinner parties and just every day, just having them on the table. So this is just a little vignette that I also love, and this is Karen Noor is the photographer, and she superimposes animals into these gorgeous, mostly European rooms, and I just think it's so interesting, and I love it on this wallpaper. And then this is just a little table that I had in my previous home in my powder room, and I was not sure that it would really fit here, but I like it underneath the painting. And then this little French mid-century modern bamboo lamp I sourced here in Palm Beach at Festina Pace, which is another great find in Palm Beach. So we're going to go into the family room, and this is an RH Cloud sofa, which I've had for a while, but I just recently reupholstered it in a Pierre Frey fabric. So I think it really elevates the sofa and just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting than just the cotton that was on before. This is just a little vintage table. The coffee table is from Pavilion in Chicago, and it's rattan, and I think it really plays well again to Florida and kind of warms up the space. I just love it. And these are just some objects that I've collected that I appreciate so much, and I love to call her Daisy. These stools are also from Pavilion, and this interesting bamboo chaise lounge I also got at Arch in Chicago, Winnetka, Illinois. I had the bookcase built. I love to collect coffee table books, primarily design books that inspire me on projects. So I sourced this vintage French chair at Wright Auctions in Chicago. And again, bringing in some greenery, it just feels so warm to bring the outside in. And even though these plants are very high maintenance, I try to keep them up and replace them when they start to die. But I just love having greenery in the house. This rug is from Schumacher. I love Schumacher. They've been fantastic to work with on all the wallpaper and the fabrics and the rug. And then this chandelier is a Lindsay Edelman piece. I have a couple Lindsay Edelman pieces in the house. I think she does fantastic lighting, very unique and interesting. Of course, now everyone's trying to copy it, so there's a lot of copies, but this is one of the original ones I bought from her several years ago. And then this screen is from Bronca, which is in Palm Beach. She has some really interesting vintage pieces, and I just think it kind of blocks a little bit of the outdoor kitchen, the grill, which I didn't really want to showcase when you're in this space. So I think it does a nice job of doing that. And the Pierre Fray fabric on the couch, I added these Hermes pillows, which I think go really well with the fabric. I love Hermes pillows and throws, as you can see here. It's a modern home that was just built, as I said, a year ago. So it's very architecturally modern, which is very different for me because the last two homes I've lived in have been over 100 years old. So it was quite a different challenge. And really it's 2 floors. The first floor is a big living space with a living room, family room, kitchen, and then also the primary bedroom. And then you go upstairs and there's additional bedrooms and offices. My office is actually a closet, but there's an office for my husband. I'd say my personal style is very eclectic. I love antiques. I love a lot of plants and flowers and live things. I love wallpaper. I really like to layer, so you feel like there's a lot of history and everything doesn't look brand new. In fact, most of my furniture that I'm going to show you I've had for 10 to 20 years. So now I'm going to show you our bedroom. So as you can see, the space is pretty large, so I created a seating area with a sofa and some chairs that I previously had in my other home and reupholstered them. The fabric here, which I'm crazy about, is Schumacher. And then the pillows are Bronca. And the rug is a custom rug by the rug company, and it's literally the softest feeling rug I've ever felt. It's incredible. A little side table, and then these lamps, which I think are really interesting, are from Belgium. I found them on First Dibs. This coffee table is mid-century modern, and I sourced it at Arch in Winnetka, Illinois. And I love these little Kelly Wearstler legs, and I think they're so much fun to just move around and play with them. And one of my favorite books is Aaron Lauder's new book, Living with Flowers, because as you can see, I love flower arranging. It's so much fun, and I put this crazy arrangement together a couple days ago, and love peonies and these beautiful roses that are secret garden roses, and I love to just peel them open and kind of make them come alive. And the furniture, or the bedside tables and the dresser, I also sourced from First Dibs. Those are new for this home, and I think they blend in really well. The wallpaper is from Schumacher, and again, I really felt like this room needed wallpaper really desperately because it was so big and didn't feel cozy at all. So I added the wallpaper. There's a little piece of art here that I love. It's from an artist in New Orleans, Karina Gentita, and she does usually very, very big pieces, but I wanted a piece of her work so much, and she commissioned this for me. And then there's another piece of art over here that is at the vanity table, and it is Renee Schuler, and it's a ballerina. It's a piece I've had for a while, and I think works well with the vanity. And this piece over the bed is a beautiful Italian building that was shot by Massimo Listri. I just think kind of makes you feel like you're in Italy. I love, again, this blush color, and I wanted to bring it into the bedroom, and so I reupholstered this bench and in the same fabric, Schumacher fabric, as the pillows, and just kind of did a really crisp duvet cover and kept it really clean looking. But again, this blush color I think is so pretty, and my husband didn't object to it at all. There's also some Murano pink lamps here on the dresser, which I think are so pretty. They're actually even prettier when they're lit, but I think they're kind of interesting. I had never seen anything like them before. And then I have a Lindsay Edelman chandelier, which I've had in my previous homes and actually never had it in my bedroom. So I really like seeing it in this room, in this house. It's kind of fun to move things around from, one home to the other and put things in rooms that you didn't have them in previously. This is my vanity, and it's fun to accessorize a vanity with these Murano glass lights, and then these Lindsay Edelman perfume bottles, and the brass tray, this vintage light, and again, bringing in the blush color with the velvet stool. This is where I sit and do my makeup every day. I always like to sit and do makeup. I don't like to do it in the bathroom standing, so I love the vanity. And now I'm going to show you my primary bathroom. And it's a very large bathroom, and it was very, very cold and just boring, to be honest with you. So I used this incredible Schumacher fabric or wallpaper, the Bazoo wallpaper. And as you can see, it has this beautiful tree motif, and it literally transformed this bathroom. I have a Rogan Gregory chandelier in here, which is a very special piece. It's very limited. He doesn't make a lot of pieces. So I just love that. This is an ottoman that I thought really kind of centered the room with this rug, and the fabric on here is Schumacher, and it just kind of brings the room kind of to one focal point, I think, because it was so big before. And this table is a Rick Owens table, and again, I just kind of accessorized with these woven pieces that I got from a Basque in Europe, and I just think they're so elegant and elevated. This chair is very special to me. This was my grandfather's chair, and I upholstered it in, again, the Deidar fabric, which I also have in another room. But it's very special, and I just love it right here with this tree. Again, kind of a focal point of the bathroom. And then I'll let you have a little peek inside my one closet, and I have another closet upstairs, but this is the closet that I kind of call the white dress closet. I love white dresses. I pretty much love all cotton dresses, but I particularly love white dresses. So you can take a little peek in here. One of my favorite new dresses that I just got is this Miu Miu dress that is just beautifully beaded, and I think so, so special. Again, white cotton dresses, I just cannot say no to them. I keep saying I have enough of them, but I have a weakness for them. So that's one of my favorites. I think what makes a home come alive is really personal things and things that you collect over time. I really don't like to decorate with all new things. Everything shouldn't look like it was just purchased at the same time. So as I said, a lot of my things are really quite old, and I've had for a long time and have a story behind them. I'd say my favorite room in the house is my bedroom, because those people who know me know I love to work in my bedroom. I love to watch TV in my bedroom. I'm a Cancer, and so I really like to get into my shell and be really safe and cozy. So let's go outside. So this is a French flower table from a Paris flower shop from the 1940s. And it's just so special to me because I love flowers so much. So when I saw it in the shop, a shop called Welly House that's in Winnetka, Illinois, I just had to have it. I didn't think that they were actually going to sell it because it looked so amazing in the space that they had it in, but they did sell it, and it's just kind of unexpected, I think. It's not something that you really see outside in Florida. I feel like it's a little bit unusual. And then I did the chairs with a Bronca fabric with the cushions and then the skirt, the two different fabrics mixing together. And again, I have to have a lot of flowers. I always have white geraniums, and I had them when I lived in Chicago, and I just was obsessed with them, and everyone said, you're never going to be able to grow geraniums in Florida. So I actually brought some of my geraniums from Illinois, and some of them on the main moving truck froze, and I was heartbroken because they were ones that I was growing inside, and it's really hard to grow geraniums inside. but I had some other ones delivered in an air-conditioned truck, and they've survived, thank goodness. So I'm determined to have a flower garden in Florida, and we'll see how that goes. My china is one of my favorite new pieces that I got for this house, and they're by Pinto, and it's kind of a mushroom motif, and all the plates are different. And then I love in Florida to have like the bamboo silverware and mixing in the rattan and the wicker. This chandelier I had in my home before. It was in my sunroom, and I think it looks great out here. It's kind of rustic and kind of ties into the table setting, and is a lot of fun. And I had this table, this garden table previously, and I'm just kind of using it as a focal point for this centerpiece that I put together. And if you walk over here, you'll see the seating area. And this is a Serena and Lily sofa, which is incredibly comfortable, and I reupholstered it in a Bronca fabric. And it's great to sit out here and watch TV. And this wall, I don't like to show TVs, so I tried to make it as interesting as possible, and I found these French mirrors online, and they're all antique, and I just made this wall, I think, a little bit more interesting and not so focused on the TV. Again, more topiaries. And I found these chairs on Cherish and then did the Bronca fabric on them. And I'm obsessed with these garden stools that I just found at Show Pony in Palm Beach. It's not easy to find brown garden stools, and when I saw them, I was just obsessed with them. I had to have them. These are the geraniums that I actually brought from Chicago, my little babies. So it's a full-time job taking care of geraniums. You have to deadhead them constantly, and you have to know how to do it the right way. And it's actually like therapy, though, for me. I really, really enjoy it. And when I go out of town for a few days and I come back and I need to deadhead, it's overwhelming. And then I put these topiaries in, which have been doing great. And then this is just another little bamboo table that I found at Show Pony in Palm Beach. And this is a Francis Palmer pot. I collect Francis Palmer vases, which you probably will see throughout the house, but I loved this terracotta pot, and I think it looks great here. And then, of course, we have our swimming pool, which we spend every day in. And when you come from Chicago, you use a swimming pool in Florida. I know people that don't go in their swimming pools, and I can't believe it, because it's amazing just to dip yourself in and lay on a raft for 15 minutes, even just every day, to do something, to get some sun. So that's my outside space. And now I'm going to show you our guest bedrooms upstairs. So this is the entry to what I call the green guest room. And you'll see that I went really Palm Beach with my two guest rooms. I thought when people come visit, they want to really feel like they're in Palm Beach. And so I kind of really did it. This is just a little ceramic collection that I have. And I thought the green really worked well here. And just some fun objects that I've collected. And this wallpaper is from Schumacher, and I think it is so much fun. If you'll notice these lamps, I purchased these lamps before I moved here, and ironically they came from Palm Beach. And I decided when I was moving here that I was going to design an entire room around these lamps, because I think they're so pretty, and I loved the idea of doing a green and white room. So really these are the motivation for this room. Again, the Schumacher fabric. And then I have these lovely little, I'm not really sure what they're called, but these little flower pieces that are from Gusto in Palm Beach. This mirror was my grandmother's, so it's really, really special. I've had it for many, many years. And I really did not want to spend a lot of money on my guest rooms. So I got this piece really, really inexpensively at kind of a flea market type store here in Palm Beach. And this chair I had previously, and I reupholstered it. And I love mixing different fabrics and just kind of making it feel like you don't think it's going to go together, but then it does go together. And then there's a beautiful balcony out here, and I already had this furniture, and it's green and white, so I thought it worked really, really well for this little guest area. So the bed, I'm using D linens, which I think are so fresh and so happy and feel so summery. And then this headboard was from Ballard Designs. And then I just have this really soft cotton quilt with a little bit of green threads throughout. And I'm sorry, I can't think of the designer right now, but I love those quilts. And then I just want to go back and show you these lamps because these were my mother's lamps. So they're quite old. And I always wanted them when I was young. I always wanted them in my room, and she wouldn't let me have them. But now I have them, and I just had these little lampshades made for them. But I think they're so pretty. And then this is just kind of a fun rattan chandelier that I found on Etsy, and I think it's so cute and just kind of, again, ties in this whole Palm Beach feel. This is the pink bedroom, and in addition to being one of our guest rooms, it's also where my daughter loves to stay when she's in town. So I had her in mind when I decorated it. Come on in. This is a vintage lamp that I found in Chicago a few years ago. I think it's so pretty. And the furniture in here, again, as I said, I didn't want to spend a ton of money on furniture in my guest rooms. So I found this at a flea market type store in Palm Beach. However, the chairs I made more of an investment in, and these are from Bronca. And I think they're also very, very interesting and couldn't resist them with the pink trim. Again, in the beds, I did the Deporta linens, and then I have my daughter's monogram on the bedding. These are from Julia B. And this is a Schumacher fabric. And again, Murano glass lamps. And then on the other side, I have a Huntslam bunny painting. And then this flowers that I did, I put in this beautiful Nymphenburg vase, which I think is so pretty. And then I did these stools, again, in the Schumacher fabric, and they hide my daughter's favorite blanket. And I tied in this Bronca wallpaper, which I did in also the bathroom as well. And the chandelier I found on First Dibs, and it was so much bigger than I thought it was going to be, but it looks so cool at night when it's lit. And then we have an outdoor terrace here, and I incorporated the pink outside as well. So this rug is super soft, and it was from Crate and Barrel, and my daughter loves it. And then I just have this little vanity table. I believe it's from Coley Home. They do upholstered furniture, and just have a little stool again that's upholstered in the Schumacher fabric. And then this is a little art piece that my daughter did when she was in grade school, a guitar, which we've carried around with us. If you can see this photograph, it's very old vintage Palm Beach, kind of fun. I love these photographs that you see everywhere in Palm Beach. Reminds you of a very fun time long ago. I had a choice of making this room either my office or my closet, and of course I made it my closet. So come on inside. I have a little bit more color in this room, a lot of dresses. I prefer to wear dresses. And then over here I have this tiny little desk with this French chair. And I did really beautiful feminine balloon shades in here. And I picked out this hardware for the closet drawers. And it's just a nice size room to have your extra clothes in. And of course, we have to have a Barbie doll. And one of my favorite pieces is my wedding dress, which I just got married 2.5 years ago. And I wore this Chanel dress, and I just can't wait to wear it again. The vintage chandelier I took from my previous bedroom and put it in here to kind of make this room even more glamorous. So I'm going to show you my powder room now. As I mentioned before, it being a spec house, I didn't get to pick a lot of the cabinets and the countertops. I really didn't like the cabinet that was in here. And so I had this beautiful skirt made with Bronca fabric. And I had this bust in my previous home, and when I moved in, I couldn't figure out where to put it. And I was almost going to put it in storage, and then I realized, oh my goodness, it would be perfect in here. And then these are some of my favorite flowers, coral charms. And again, it's a vintage mirror, vintage sconces, and one of my prints that I had in my living room, I had the extra one put in here. And then this is a Lindsay Edelman chandelier. To really make this, this room come alive, I used this incredible Bronca wallpaper. And it's just so beautiful, and the colors are so rich. I just adore it. Home means to me a safe place, like a sanctuary. It's really a place that you can create beauty and share with others. Homeworthy, it was great showing you my home. Thank you, but I need to take a nap now.